In the past, you may have asked yourself, how long should my fat loss phase last? Should it be 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks? You'll see some people who have a 1 to 2 year weight loss journey. You'll see transformations being advertised all the time, promising you the sun, moon, and stars in 90 days. So, to shed a little bit of light on this question, which is actually like asking how long is a piece of string, let's look at one particular example I had with a client today. So there's this one client I have. He is an actor here in Bulgaria, where I'm based, and he is preparing for a movie role, right? And the very famous individual that he is portraying in this movie, he's portraying a film about his life. In that movie, or sorry, in that period of this person's life, he was particularly lean. So lean in the face, even had a lean body because he was an athlete. So my job is to get him looking like this guy's shape, looking like he performs the same job that this guy performs, in a matter of, I think it was 4 months, we originally, 5 even, that his cut was going to take. So we were getting him from a little bit of an overweight, 90 kilos, but nothing too major, quite well muscled, and seeing if we could get him down to sub 80 kilos while keeping the majority of his muscle mass. And given the time frame, that was going to be an absolute piece of cake. And we started moving fairly slowly. He was recomping quite a bit, and then the plan was to start dieting him a little bit harder, start ramping up the cardio, and then refeed him so that he'll look his absolute best on set when he gets to the end, and that we could, when he's refed, we could then focus on some more sports specific types of training that an athlete in that domain would do for the role he's playing. Right, I know that was a little bit long-winded, but anyway, the schedule for the movie got pushed drastically forward because another well-known actor now came into the scene, and he was saying, these are my available dates. But having him in the movie will really help promote it and help get more people looking at this movie. So we had to completely change course. So it went from the original plan of him doing a very slow cutting phase over the span of 5 months, will now turn into, in the next 6 weeks, I'm trying to get him to drop 6 kilograms. Now, every decision we make when it comes to how long a fat loss phase is going to take, or any decision you're going to make around this, it's all a game of trade-offs. There's no right or wrong answer, right? There's certain guidelines that you can follow for sure in terms of having a caloric deficit that is enough to initiate weight loss, but not so much that you're starving and that you're, causing a cascade of consequences for your hormones and for just your overall psychological health. There's a massive variance there in what's going to actually have you losing weight at a fairly healthy rate. But it all depends on how much weight you have to lose to begin with. Are you doing this for something that's work related, like in this situation? Are you just doing it for your general health? If the answer is the latter, I would actually go with a more slow and controlled fat loss phase, where you're actually looking to build healthy habits. You're looking to budget in foods that you would normally eat. So for example, if you like Snickers bars, you could fit in a Snickers bar every single day into your diet, no problem, and still cover all your nutritional bases, still lose body fat, and still improve all your key major blood markers like, blood glucose. This is assuming that you're not already diabetic, but your blood sugar, your cholesterol, etc. So long as you're in a calorie deficit, you're getting in enough fiber, you're getting in micronutrients, there's nothing wrong with a bit of flexibility. So that was actually the original way we were working his plan. He had a 400 calorie daily impulsivity budget, is what we would call it, where he would eat mostly healthy food for about 1,800 calories of his diet. And then he had 400 to spare to hit his daily 2,200. And that could be spent on whatever he wanted. And this works really well for him because actors, creatives, they're always kind of like teetering on, that tightrope of creativity, which goes along with, a lot of high octane social situations. Like he mentioned that all his friends love to drink and smoke and doing a load of things that I wouldn't recommend on this channel. But that's just the scene, right? So the fact that we were able to keep like a little budget aside for him if he wanted to have a beer every now and then, or if he just said, fuck it, I want to have a nice big cappuccino with some sugar in it. That was really helpful. Now we've had to scale that down to where he has maybe 100 calories to play around with in the day. So because his overall budget is smaller and he needs to do this in a quicker time frame, that will mean that his diet now has to be more strict, where it's 95% all healthy food, or food that directly relates to the goal we're trying to achieve, which is to lose body fat, maintain muscle mass. Whereas if he had a bigger budget and he had a longer runway, which we originally had, then he would have had more flexibility to play around with. So if you want to do it quicker in terms of losing body fat, the trade-off there is you're going to have to be stricter, which then increases the risk that you're actually going to fall off the diet and not complete it, right? So it's a bit more like a high risk, high reward strategy where you want to get in for a short period of time of maybe between 4 to 8 weeks, get the result and get out, okay? And get back up to maintenance calories as quick as you can so that you don't get into a situation where your metabolic rate tanks, your cortisol goes up, and you end up binging, okay? That can happen. On the other hand, though, if you wanted to go nice and slowly with the process, that would be like more the, I suppose, the investing equivalent of putting away a regular dollar cost average contribution into the stock market and knowing that you're moving in the right direction, but it's not going to be anything to write home about, like looking from your progress photos from week 1 to week 3, for example. Okay. It's just different approaches depending on what the goal is. The overarching principles very much remain the same, which is we need a calorie deficit, we need enough protein to maintain muscle mass and also to burn slightly more calories through digestion compared to other macronutrients. We need enough fiber, which is also going to burn more calories than, for example, simple carbohydrates or fats. And then we need a minimum amount of fat to keep your hormones in check. But beyond that, we have plenty of flexibility within the total caloric budget. When it comes to the training side of things, in both circumstances, what I basically told him is I want his training to feel as relaxing as possible while still stimulating each individual muscle to or close to failure. Okay. Because we want to maintain the muscle mass that's already there for that particular role that he's playing. We don't need to do anything intense. We don't need to risk injury with complicated compound movements that work multiple muscle groups at one time. It's just not within the context of the goal that we're pursuing. So I hope this was helpful. Basically realize that there are trade-offs when it comes to how energetic you're going to feel, how strict you need to be on your diet. If you're going to go more aggressive, that more high risk, high reward strategy. And then you're not going to get as impressive, what would you say, motivating, accelerating feels from a lower and slower approach. But that may be the best approach to take if you have a significant amount of body fat to lose.